Have you ever tested that what you feel, you know, with someone you may have a different view than your own? Then let's talk to one another. Let's reason with one another on the Scriptural Discussion with the Son of Man. A live broadcast every Sunday at 12 noon on TV 33, SM 88.1 WHBR, and Comcast Cable. So why don't you call and let's discuss the Holy Bible, and if you have one, the Holy Quran, and come to an agreement about the Holy Scriptures and their true meaning. So tune in to the Scriptural Discussion with the Son of Man every Sunday at 12 noon, right here on TV 33, SM 88.1 WHBR, and Comcast Cable. You can call in live on the air at area code 313-868-4336, 868-0342, 868-0351. Of course, the area code is 313. That's 313-868-4336, 868-0342, and 868-0351. And now let's go live with the Scriptural Discussion with the Son of Man.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, the Truthful, and the Most Just. I greet all of you once again with the greeting words of peace from the Lord of the worlds. May Allah's Salam Alaikum. I wish the time would permit me to share all of the things with you that is needful for you to, in order to not fall victim to deceivers. The one thing that I want you to remember about a deceiver, a deceiver does not like to be questioned about what they say. Deceivers never like to be questioned about what they say, because it makes them have to tell a bigger lie to cover the deception that they are trying to put over on you. See, in order to cover one lie, you have to tell another one. The truth will never cover a lie. You have to have a lie greater than the one that you just told in order to cover the last one. And then if someone asks you a question about that one, you have to tell an even bigger one until they get so big that you realize that people lying to you. So that's why the first reaction of a deceiver when you ask him a question that he created is that he will get angry or he will get anxious or try to pretend to be answering the question while actually changing the subject. Do you understand? But you wouldn't know that if you don't listen. Understand something. You don't have to listen for a lie to catch a person lying. If you want to catch, you have to listen for the truth. Because the truth always agrees with itself. That's why most questions when people, when scientists are listening to you when you're talking, they will say, well, if that's true, then it always start off, well, if what you just said is true, then how does that, how do you reconcile that with this? You see, truth matches up with truth. Do you understand? Falsehood never match up with truth. It will always create a break. And you will say, wait a minute, what you just said don't make no sense there. You understand? But you wouldn't say that if your ears were stopped up and your eyes were blind with strong emotions. Most people, when they don't like you, they don't hear what you say and they don't see what you try to show them. That's the nature of a child's mind, of a shallow mind. You know, shallow minds are like shallow water. Any little pebble can get it all shook up. You know, a person that's always constantly going off, just flying off the handle, that's a person with a shallow mind. And most people in this world are justified to have nothing but a shallow mind. That's why when you really get into a back and forth, they think that when you disagree with them, that somehow that means you hate them. You know, and you know, and so consequently, that false, well, when it comes to me, I can only speak for me. Anytime a person comes in here and has a conversation with me and leaves thinking I hate them, they don't know me. You know, that's one thing that I'm almost incapable of doing, is hating people. I hate what people do, but I understand that the difference in the person and what they're doing. This world can't make that. The people in this world can't make that distinction. If I couldn't make that distinction, I couldn't offer you salvation, because I would hate your flesh rather than recognize that your flesh has fallen victim to a corrupt mind. Do you understand? So, you know, that's why, you know, I'm not the kind of person who likes to just constantly be bickering with people. I like to argue because that's how you learn. I mean, you know, any man call himself a scientist. The very nature of being a scientist is that you question things. Because no scientist wants to be formulating hypotheses or premise or theories based on lies, based on a misunderstanding. No scientist believes something and you ask him, well, why you believe that? He said, just because. Ain't no just because. What do the cause be? What cause exists that you are saying is causing this belief that you have? The only people who believe in things that they can't understand are people who are superstitious, as we say. So, you know, I've when you hate a person, it is okay if you understand that you actually don't hate the flesh, you hate what the mind is telling that flesh to do. But what if they repent? If it was the flesh you hated, their repentance you're not going to even recognize. So, Pay attention. Allah have raised me up with the right guidance to correct everyone when it comes to righteousness and man's dealing with his fellow man. What do you think you're saying when you say, let thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven? What do you think that, what do you think you're saying there? You don't realize how much is locked up in those few words. What is God's will? His will is righteousness. He is the God of peace, not of confusion. Look at the sun. The sun is approximately 853,000 miles in diameter. You could put the earth next to itself, just one next to the other, and you'd have to put the earth next to itself over 100 times in order to just make a little bead of pearls, looking like a string of pearls across the face, I should say through the middle of the sun. And as big as the sun is, and as big as the earth is, 7,926 miles in diameter, compared to 853,000 miles is what the sun is. And you notice, we say that's big. And as I told you, big is a relative term. It's always in relationship to what? And as big as the sun and the moon and the earth and the Jupiter and Saturn and Mars, as big as they are, you go out into the universe. As a matter of fact, you walk outside on a clear day, and the only thing you hear noise coming from is the little creatures that you see flapping around here on the earth that don't be here long. Little noisy things. But the planets don't make no noise. The planets, they ain't out there bumping into each other. They stay in their respective orbits. And they've been doing that ever since they was made. God is the God of peace and not of confusion. How you know that's true? You scientists who have studied the sun and the moon, they make calendars that tell you what time the sun gonna rise, what time the moon stage gonna be here, and that stage gonna be there. There's no confusion. We don't look for the sun to rise from the south sometime. Wonder where it's going to rise from next. No confusion. What you see is what you get. And it's what you can expect to get. That which has been will be. And that which will be is that which has been. That's the one constant in the universe, is change. The change is to change at different times, different points. That is when change. To all things is a time and a season. To all changes. And once you study those changes, you can predict them. Do you understand? So I want now to from now on, the scripture says there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars. I used to look at my mother and my father. I used to look at their eyes, and a lot of elderly people, black. My Uncle Merrill, remember him? My mother's brother. And it was really pronounced in his eyes because he was so dark. He was black. And as I looked in his eyes, I saw the white of his eyes looked pronouncedly white because his skin was so black. The contrast was there. And the brown in his eye, the dark brown, and the black pupil. And as you looked around the outside of the brown, you saw blue. And I saw that, and I see that in most elderly black people's eyes. You will see that little blue ring around there outside. That is showing you that inside of the brown eye, you can, if you know how, you can extract that blue eye out of there. Do you understand? That's one of the reasons why white people didn't want us looking in their eyes, because every time they look in our eyes, they saw where they came from. Now you look outside sometime, you'll see a brown ring around the sun. Most of you probably don't pay that no attention. It's just a sign to you. If you look at that brown ring and think about the way that that brown ring is surrounded by blue sky. You see a little cloud up there, hazy, and it reminds you of the eye of the black man, letting you know whose time it is. You can play your little games all you want. You can pretend that, it's many people listen to me. Don't you know if I wasn't talking about nothing, the people who hate me wouldn't keep on coming in here listening to me? They can't stop. And if they keep on listening, if they really start listening and paying attention, they're going to stop hating me and realize that I'm their only salvation. Because everything in this creation is starting to bear witness to what I say, including you and the ones that you claim you following. Now, I want to show you an example of something. What is the point? Of us saying a thing if we can't offer some kind of way to check and prove that what we're saying is true. It's just like anyone who has studied the Holy Bible knows that it says there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars. And on the earth, distress of nations. Rumors that other wars about to go on. All these are the beginning of sorrows. But when you see all these things, don't hold your head down. It says, look up. Whenever you look into the Holy Scriptures, you are looking as high as you can look, because they are from the Most High. So you are to look up, for your redemption, your Redeemer, hath drawn nigh unto you. I'm here to redeem what was You know, when you put something in the pawn shop, generally when people go and pawn something, they kind of need something. They need some quick cash, and they intend to go and redeem that one day. Huh? Well, God gave human beings, Allah gave human beings over to a corrupt man that he made corrupt, and gave the earth and every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth into the charge of that man, as the devil told Jesus, all this was delivered unto me, and whomsoever I will, I give it. He became the landlord for a while. Huh? But a redeemer was prophesied of that would redeem these temples away from that corrupt mind by changing that mind into an angel, a mind of enlightenment rather than a mind of darkness. Do you understand? Now, the difference in me and other people is that if you disagree with something I say, this forum is open. And as long as you respect the fact that I am the host, that I am the one who is allowing you to speak, as long as you respect my authority in here, and that is when I go to say something about something that you say or whatever, be quiet and let me say what I have to say. Then I will let you speak. But coming in here trying to tell one lie on top of another, the Holy Quran says none will be allowed to speak that day but him whom the beneficent permits, and he speaks aright. I don't know of more beneficent when it comes to teaching people than me. I don't know of any church that you can walk in and the preacher can be in the middle of his sermon and you can just stop him and say, wait a minute, what you just said there don't make no sense. Explain that to me. How'd that work? I don't know of no synagogue, no rabbis that's inviting you to do this. I don't know of nobody that invites you to sit in your home and listen in on their meetings. And if you have a disagreement, they let you on your phone and bring it forth. And invite any and all people that think that they know better than he or she does. Invite them in there to come and prove it. And then offer $20,000, and if you so choose, their life, if you can prove that they are teaching a lie. I don't know of nobody else doing that but me. I said, I don't know of anyone else doing that but me. Now, if nothing else, you may hear people talking about they the Mahdi, or they this, or they that, they the spirit of truth, or they the God, or the coming of the Lord, or whatever. But I'm the only one saying that I'm the rightly guided one and acting like it. If you really believe you're the rightly guided one, who are you afraid to talk? Go there and cut the air off. I think some of them cold in there. I'm not afraid to talk. Now, what is the excuse you are making for all of these people that you claim are so wise that refuse to just pick up a phone and talk to a man that you say is inferior to them? I'm not inferior to anyone on this planet. You see, a lot of people say, well, there's some physicists that know what you don't know. Yeah, but I know how to learn what they have. If I want to know that, I know how to be a student and go and sit down and shut my mouth and let somebody who knows better than me teach me something. And the only thing that would make you inferior is when you don't have sense enough, or when you don't know how to learn. You think you learn by arguing with somebody who's more knowledgeable than you. And that shows you a foolish man. You're a foolish woman. It's like people say, that nigga think he know everything. I ain't never thought I knew everything. I just got sense enough not to be trying to argue things that I don't know. You don't want to do that. You're always talking what you don't know. Then when somebody questions you on it, and then you get angry with them because they manifest that you don't know what you're talking about, and then your ego comes into it, which is what you was doing all along. You know what ego tripping means? It means stumbling over your own pride. So, you notice, don't no white folks come in here and call themselves testing me. I know where you gonna test somebody who got more sense than you. Now, I don't have time to teach you everything that I wanted to teach you, but I'm gonna start from this Bobby Jindal. He was talking to CPAC, and I think he wants to be president. So I'm going to let you hear and see Bobby Jindal. And you know, when people don't come and won't come and talk with you. You see, if you think not coming and talking with me will cover your hand paws, so to speak. If you talk to anybody and it's a tape of it, if you get it on YouTube or something, I'll just go through your dissertation with them and show the people you don't know what you're talking about. You know why? You know, people don't want you to be educated, and this man gonna tell you that. Tell me something. How many of you all how many of y'all went to public school? I went to public school. I can still remember. Excuse me. I keep reminding myself to drink water. I can still remember when Miss Dolly, now I was 5, and they put me in the kindergarten. And I can remember Miss Dolly, that was her name. Now she was one of the teachers up there, or one of the neighbors, but a lady named Miss Dolly. I know my mother put me in the car, and Miss Dolly took me up to school. And when she took me up to school and put me in the gate. When she pulled off, I ran back home and hid behind my mother's clothes that was hanging up on the line. And one of the neighbors saw my feet standing up over there and told my mother. And I even remember Miss Dolly giving me a banana or something to calm me down. I threw it out the window. And but I didn't want to go to school. I didn't have sense enough to know that I needed to go learn something. But somebody who had sense enough, which is what your parents is supposed to have, to send you to some place or to someone. They knew you needed to be taught how to read and write and do math and speak English. And, you know, they knew that. And whether you wanted to go or not, they made you go. And there are, I think it's still some loose laws on the books that you got to go to school. You may not have to go to the public school, but you better be in some kind of school, or your parents, they can be charged with actually doing you harm. You understand? Okay. Now, George Washington, he knew. I don't know what happened to I dropped my stuff and it got all mixed up here. In his farewell address, he spoke on that. I got to see if I can find my farewell address. Oh, okay. George Washington spoke on that. About, let's see here. Where he talked about the importance of you know, I don't use his exact terminology, but the importance of institutions. You know, because the government is elected, it is important to establish and cultivate institutions for the dissemination of knowledge so that the public can be enlightened. Huh? What page was that on? That on page 8? Okay. Oh, you marked it? Okay. Let me see yours now. Let me see. Give me yours. I ain't no speed reader. Excuse me. I'm not a speed reader. Huh? Oh, yeah, it is right here. He said, it is substantially true that virtue or morality is a necessary spring, You know what a spring is? A spring is water that comes up out of the earth, right? That's why even now people ask, well, what is his religion? And what is he, you know, what are your religious views or whatnot? They ask the right questions, but it don't mean nothing. They got a lot of If you ask one of them, why are you worried about his religion? Well, his religion really don't make no difference. That's what most of them say. He don't have to be religious to say a man don't have to have the belief in righteousness in his heart to govern you is to invite robbery, is to invite tyranny, is to invite injustice and make the unjust person comfortable. So George Washington, he said, it is substantially true that virtue or morality, he's saying the same thing, is a necessary spring of popular government. The rule indeed extends with more or less force to every species of free government. That is a sincere friend to it. Can look with indifference upon attempts to shake the foundation of the fabric, suggesting that, you know, with their intellect, God is something that man made up for his own inadequacies. And the fools, to a fool, that sounds right, because somebody took public speaking and learned how to say something and to say nothing, but in tones that make nothing sound like it's something. As a very important source of strength and security, as a meaning important sources of strength and security. Oh, I'm sorry. He said, promote then as an object of primary importance. You know what they call elementary education? They call it primary education. You know why? Because all the education that you get, you couldn't get if you don't get the primary. Everything that you know of that exists in the universe are composed of elements. Hence the term elementary education. All of the elements that you will use in math, science. What is all of the elements? Addition, multiplication, division, subtraction. You're going to be using that throughout your mathematical career. The elements. The base 10 number system, of which we are the root of that. 9 months in the mother's womb, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then one is born knowing nothing. 1, 0. 10. And then one who knows something puts something into with that one who's a 0, and then one gets taught by 1. 1 gets taught by 2. 1 gets taught by 3, and so forth and so on, until pretty soon you get to a point where you become the truth is in you enough to be 2. And you and somebody else can teach somebody else. Do you understand? As this Jesus said, that he that believeth on me, he said, this living water, once you drink it, Once you know the truth, then you become a well yourself. That's how it works with messengers of. That's how heads work. You know, heads is where the well is. You see, that's why the messengers of God, you can always tell who was the next one chosen, because the next one chosen begins to expound on what the one before him had to say, the ones before him had to say, and give explanations that no one else had. Do you understand? And explanations that no one else can argue with. You see. So he's called Son of Man. Man is a head, not a body. You got some people who are paraplegic. They got that little man in the wheelchair. That man can't even speak. He have to do little stuff with his head, and he's a physicist or something like that. So it ain't about the body. It's about that what's in that head, that brain. That's man. Do you understand? Well, all praises due to Allah. So George Washington said, promote then as an object of primary importance institutions. Notice, he said institutions for the general diffusion. You see them little deals up there? Them vents, we call them vents. But you notice, they got little plates across them that cause the air to go in different directions. That's called diffusing. Distribution of air. Schools are for the diffusion of knowledge. And George Washington told them, he said, institutions for the general diffusion of knowledge in proportion as the structure of a government gives force to public opinion, is essential that public opinion should be enlightened. Otherwise, public opinion can be manipulated. And other is a mind that can be manipulated into thinking and doing what's not in its own best interest. You know, Yaqub, he knew that. That's what he knew about one piece of steel having magnetism in it and another one didn't. That's what Yaqub really saw. He saw that a piece with magnetism in it could control the piece that had none. Because if you get a piece, two magnets, and lay them down, and you take one and try to control the other one will flip around, join to that one. It won't be able to control it like that. Do you understand? Or it will either push away from it. Huh? Okay. A man with knowledge can make a tool and a slave out of an ignorant man that has no knowledge. That's why they didn't want the slave to learn how to read. And didn't want the slave to learn the language. Now they've taken what they did on Abraham's seed. Just like the crooks behind it finally had to show their hand, calling themselves Israel. They ain't what they really is they're not Jews. They the synagogue of Satan. That's what the book said. And he had to show his hand that how much control they now have exercised over the American people through a government that they done bought and paid for. Hear me good? Oh, the truth come out now. I told you Allah never destroyed a people without first letting you see why. And then it says, so George Washington told them to put up public institutions to educate the people, right? Now listen to Bobby Jindal and look at him. This thing don't want to come on here. Just a minute. Y'all just give me a minute. I want to close it down and bring it back. Let's see here. Yeah, it's much that you need to know, and we're going to share it with you. So just give me a moment. If I can get this thing to come up. We don't just say things. We always like to lay a foundation for what we say, so that you don't that we just making up stuff.
But all of it. And the reason I start here, I'm not going to spend a lot of time telling you why Obamacare is so bad. We know it was built on broken promises. President Obama told you he was going to cut our premiums $2,500. He didn't do it. He said if you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor. Not true. He said if you like your health plan, you can keep your health plan. Not true. I don't need to tell you we didn't need government bureaucrats between doctors and their patients. But I am here to tell you something you may not know. Anyway, at the same time, the Republicans in Washington are about to wave the white flag of surrender on amnesty. They're about to wave the white flag of surrender on Obamacare.
Just a moment. I'm going to try to get it a little louder here. I want everybody to hear. So just give me a minute. We want everybody to hear what the man had to say. And so y'all just bear with me. And like every time I get ready to teach y'all, my computer go to slowing down. So, but patience. Allah said, you seek his assistance through patience and prayer. So I'm going to wait until let's see here. While Les trying to make up his mind whether it's come up, I'll go to the next one.
President Obama told us he was going to cut our premiums $2,500. He didn't do it. He said if you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor. Not true. He said if you like your health plan, you can keep your health plan. Not true. I don't need to tell you we didn't need government bureaucrats between doctors and their patients. But I am here to tell you something you may not know. And this troubles me greatly. At the same time, the Republicans in Washington are about to wave the white flag of surrender on amnesty. They're about to wave the white flag of surrender on repealing Obamacare. And I'm here to tell you, we've got to tell them we won't stand for that. You now have Republicans in Washington, D.C. telling us, well, we can't repeal all of the tax increases, so we'll just keep smaller tax increases. You've got Republicans in Washington telling us you can't get rid of this entitlement program without the entitlement program. You've got Republicans in Washington telling us The way to count success is not by reducing costs, but not by empowering patients, but rather by counting how many people have insurance cards, whether they've got meaningful access to affordable care or access in their networks. Well, I'm here to tell you, I don't know about you, I don't remember during those campaign ads last November, I don't remember them saying, we're just going to repeal the easy parts of Obamacare. They won elections in red states. They won elections in blue states. They won elections in purple states. And one of the most important issues, one of the most important promises they made, was if we gave them the majority, they would repeal and replace every single word of Obamacare. It is time for them to govern the way they campaign and to get rid of Obamacare.
Some of these people, they want to have it both ways. When President ran, didn't he campaign on getting affordable health care for all Americans? Of course, when he got in there, that's what he did. Right? So how can these people say, Bobby Jindal and all of them, that the majority of the American people didn't want affordable health care? That's the case of the tail trying to wag the dog. You know, you keep telling the same lie over. I read that to you from Hitler and them, right? Keep spouting the same lie, and pretty soon people will believe it. And the bigger the lie, the more. Here, over 11 million people and got health insurance that didn't have it. And it's steady climbing. Yeah, Ted Cruz done got him some. But anyway, Bobby Jindal standing up there telling you that elephants ain't heavy. Boo-boo don't stink. And sugar ain't sweet. And he think because you keep saying the same thing over and over that it's going to work. Now, I've given people the number. Let those who say that somehow the Affordable Health Care Act has caused them some harm, call up and tell us what harm it caused you. Come on in here. This is your opportunity to talk to the other side of the thing. Y'all get on Fox News and all that stuff and make up all them lies and stuff. Matter of fact, the Congressional Budget Office said that according to what the news reported, that the Affordable Health Care Act didn't cost as much at first forecast. Huh? So, but let's listen to Bobby some more. I mean, he gonna say some thing that's gonna make you wonder if he lost his mind and forgot what he looked like. I mean, just wait, just listen.
We don't need Obamacare light. We don't need a second Democratic Party. We don't need to be liberal. We don't need to be cheaper liberal Democrats. We need to be principled conservative Republicans. I don't know about you. This election wasn't about getting a nicer office for Senator Mitch McConnell. It wasn't about keeping a bigger office for Speaker John Boehner. This election was taking our country back, and it starts by repealing Obamacare.
Taking our country back. Would somebody please call up and tell me what's meant by that? Wasn't nobody talking about taking it back when they ran it over the cliff. They talking about America was standing on the edge of a cliff. America was over the cliff when President Obama got it. The economy was in free fall. Do that sound like at the precipice? If the economy and jobs, they was bleeding jobs, if everything was in free fall, how was that not over the cliff? And somehow his administration sprouted some wings and got back up. Now they say they want to take their country back. Is that what he did? And look who's doing the talking. You notice them white folks looking at him, but what it is, he lost his mind. But he ain't speaking for himself. He's not speaking for them. He's speaking for them people who sent Grover Norquist. Do you understand? The one that said, we don't need no guidance. We don't need no direction. We just need somebody with good dexterity that can sign whatever we put in front of them. Huh? We know. Tell me something. I want all of you. I mean, you can hate me all you want, but you should take the advice of that movie, The Godfather. Since you view me as the enemy, then he said, keep your friends close and your enemies closer. Listen to your friends, but listen to your enemies closer. Well, let's see. I wonder how Israel really looks at America since they hate Jesus. Don't you remember when I was trying to get them to, and had both of them rabbis, the black one and the white one. When I went to mention Jesus, they said, we don't recognize that. Well, if they don't recognize Jesus as being anybody, then what do you think they think about somebody who recognizes Jesus? I guess that would explain why the news been reporting in a very weak way, but they did come out with it. And on the internet, there's really a lot of it on there. That they find out that the Israeli government had prior knowledge to that 9/11 suggested that it was made to look like it was some Arabs when it really wasn't. And now that's what's floating on the internet. And that they found out that Israel been spying on America. And was feeding Congress after they listened in on their talks. They was feeding information back to their puppets in Congress to go in front of the president to put that letter there to try to overturn any chance of an agreement being made with Iran. Now, I also want you to ask yourself this question. If a person goes in business, do you suppose they go in business to put themselves out of business? The only time you can think or suggest that a person goes into a specific business or a specific vocation to put an end to that as if they're doing charitable work and there's no monetary gain being, or any kind of gain other than humanitarian help to people who needed it. Right? When companies began to spring up that build mostly weapons and then began to make their fortune on building weapons, do you think those companies are going to support politicians who want peace or who can bring peace? It's all right to say you want it and to say, you know, take your job seriously, but don't take yourself seriously. Huh? What is his job? His job is to represent those who sent him there. His job is to do what he was sent there to get done. Huh? Let me show you a commercial here. You need to see it. See that? You see what it say there? Take your job seriously, but don't take yourself seriously. Meaning what? Now, Tip O'Neill said that. What did he mean by it? If someone sends you to do a thing, for instance, make you a senator or a congressman, the job of the Congress is to pass laws and levy taxes. That's part of their job description. That they deem necessary for the good of the whole country, right? Okay, that's their job. That is the description of who they are. They are supposed to be congressmen. When someone says, take your job seriously, but not yourself, then that's someone who, you know, they sign the pledge and you get to govern. To govern according to the will and wishes of those who dressed you up and sent you in there and made you look smart to the American people. But don't forget, we made you. We made them think of you as intelligent. We made them think of you as someone who is there speaking in their best interest and would seek to do what's in their best interest. We make them speeches. We gave to say. So when you get in there, you do the job we sent you there for. You take that serious. But don't you start believing that you're the one that's congressman. What did Narquist say? He want to reduce the government down to the size that it could fit into what? A bathtub. All right. Now let's go a little further here.
talk to you about the 401k, the most sound way to go. Let's talk asset allocation. Sure. You seem knowledgeable, professional. Would you trust me?
Look at him. He looked like a businessman, don't he? Look.
As your financial advisor, I would. I would indeed. Well, let's be clear here. I'm actually a DJ. I have no financial experience at all. That really is you. If you're not a CFP pro, you just don't know. Find a certified financial planner professional.
They can take anyone off the street, dress him up, put a suit and tie on him, and then use the media to make him look like he's all that in a bag of chips too. And they have dumbed the people down so much, made the people so gullible that they can just tell the people what to think anytime they want to. It's just like you look at America when America was strong, and you discover that fathers, white fathers, had a saying: "I'm finna take this boy out here to the woodshed." You know what that meant? You finna take my damn beat his rump. And there was a time when in America, you couldn't even get one drop of alcohol legally. You had to go to Mexico or somewhere to get alcohol, because they knew of the baneful effects of that. But gradually they gotten away from that. Until now, you can get anything. You go to Hollywood, what did Miss Janice Dickinson say about the modeling profession? There's always champagne and cocaine and crack, subtly telling you that they turning the beautiful young lady prostitutes, and the way they advertise them is put them out there on the magazine, cover girl, whatever. And then they send them where they want them to go. But in order to do something like that to people, you have to put a ceiling on their education, or you have to at least take charge of what goes into them and give them a whole lot of nothing and convince them with a piece of paper that you really done gave them something, so they have a degree. So listen to Bobby Jones. Oh, excuse me. I gotta change the I know what I can do, but you can't see it that way.
Of Washington, D.C., the second thing we need to do. I'm in federal court right now suing Arnie Duncan to make it clear we need to remove Common Core from every classroom in America.
Why does Bobby Jindal want to remove Common Core from every classroom in America? What is Common Core? Just from the sound of it, it tells you something. It means that the government has mandated that every student from grade kindergarten, K through 12, by the time they get to the 12th grade, they should be at a certain level. Huh? Demanding that the school system, what is the point of having a school system if the graduates, the people that you're educating, are being educated in a substandard manner? But you know, when you talk to unenlightened people, just like as I told you, when I was a little boy, I didn't want to go to school no way. So it wouldn't. It been a good thing as far as I was concerned. That if you say that the only thing we do all day is listen to stories, no homework, none of that stuff, and please take away that paddle, because you take that paddle away, then I ain't got to shut up. If the teacher tell me shut up, I'll say what? Are you gonna do what? And then if the teacher dare to touch me, I'll kick him. And if he say I kicked him, I will say he lying on me, knowing that I got a bigger fool for a daddy and a mama that let them take corporal punishment out of school. They don't realize that's the only thing that made me obey them. Otherwise, I'd have had a yes, sir. I don't know no child that ain't got ADD until you put something on the AAS. Do you understand? You put something on the ASS and the ADD disappear. I promise you. Yeah. I know what I'm talking about. And you don't have to do it that often. All you have to do is get it once and get it right. They know better from then on. Kalisa, come here, baby. Tell them how you're doing. Tell them how you're doing. Say fine. You can talk. Tell them, say, how y'all doing? Say, yeah, it's me again. But I'm quiet now. Yeah. Got no problem with ADD. You see? And ain't no real police officer out there gonna have no problem out of them when they grow up and go out there and he tell them, hey, you don't belong here. You know, you don't walk this way or across the street or wherever. Why? Because I raised my children to be respectful. If it was my country, I would expect you to obey my law enforcement people. And because I know that, and God knew that we were surrounded by people who hate us. He said, you just don't worry about no guns and all this stuff that people got weapons think they're gonna harm you with. He said, I'll deal with that. You just be righteous. You know, these people got all kind of ways that they have for killing you. Simply because they are devils. And even that was not totally their fault. So, you know, my job is to offer them salvation even while they're trying to kill me. You ever jumped in? You ever seen a man drowning? He'll drown the one that jumped in there to save him. Because as far as he's concerned, he's in a fight for his life. And he gonna grab anything. He'll grab you. If you ain't drowning, you better stay away from him. If you ain't a mighty good swimmer. So a real good swimmer, lifeguard, would probably, when he see the man drowning, when he get close to him, he go underwater and grab him and lift him up and tell him, now be still, I got you. And you just come on, I'm gonna take you on there. Otherwise, he might knock you out while he's swimming, trying to save himself. Do you understand? So I don't know how they train them to do it, but I'm pretty sure that they teach them to be very careful with trying to save a drowning man. Huh? All right. So I want you to see Bobby's agenda again. I wish the sound was louder, but it's as loud as that I could get it to go. So.
Now, why do we care so much about Common Core? We care about education because, first, it's important for us to grow our economy. Studies have shown we could add trillions of dollars for our economy if we would just catch up with other industrialized competitive countries. It's also could earn thousands of dollars more. Our children could earn thousands of dollars more if we had great teachers in their classrooms. So it's important to us economically. Secondly, we care about education because it's who we are. We're an aspirational society. We believe that certain...
I just thought about something. I forgot that Homeland Security got our phone lines. They tap in, so that's they doing. Because this thing was much louder than this when I played it before. When I was testing it out. Now all of a sudden it's low. So they playing games, but soon they're not gonna be. They're not gonna be here. All of the wicked people that's on the earth, Allah told me to give them warning. I'm warning them now. You better stop that. Now, if I'm saying something that's wrong, I invited you to come in and correct it. All of a sudden, the phone humming and buzzing and going on. Why? You know why. So just listen. Just try to turn your volume up and listen as close as you can.
Stances of your don't determine your outcomes as an adult. You shouldn't have to be born to wealthy parents or the right zip code to do great things in our country. But third and most importantly, the reason we care about education, the reason we fund public education in America in the first place, is because we are a self-governing republic. We need to teach the next generation to be critical, independent thinkers. We need to teach them to be able to make informed decisions for themselves and for others when they vote in elections. We also need to train the next generation of leaders. For these and many reasons, first of all, we object to Common Core because the federal government has no right
to say they need to train the next generation of leaders is just another way of saying they want to create a caste and class, a permanent ruling class. Because the idea that those who founded this country had in mind when they drafted the Constitution. And let those who are qualified, let the time and the gene pool that whenever human beings long for anything, the man or the woman or the men or the women to answer that longing are somewhere out there. And all you got to do is keep the line of communication open and free for all who want to present their case as to why they should be there. And you will always wind up with the best qualified. When you take finances out of the equation and let those who claim to know the right course come forth and argue with each other in front of you. Do you understand? That's basically the way it used to be done. But anyway, let's go. Yeah, he talking about he wants to train. Can you imagine this man training somebody to guide you? Just
imposing curriculum, imposing content standards in local classrooms when these decisions have always been made by local parents, by teachers, by local leaders.
on the one hand, he says that we need an enlightened public. And on the next hand, he says, let the generation that was not so enlightened determine what needs school. He's telling them that you can make the best decision about what they can go. Look here. If you thought you was better qualified to make decisions about their educational curriculum, if you think the average citizen is better qualified for that, then why do you have a Department of Education? What do you need a government for if you don't respect the government? Here, this man is trying to get you to dismantle your own government, and he's doing it from inside of the government. Suggesting to you that the government don't know what they're doing. You just close down all these schools, and well, no, you don't need to close the schools down. You need to put more incentive in the school system to attract, since this is capitalism, if you want the best teachers, you need to pay more money. You need to demand proper qualifications, and then you also need to make sure that a teacher don't have to worry about nothing but the future of your nation. They should be some of the highest paid people in America, if not the highest, because the school system is to the future of a nation as a mother is to the future of a family. So I want you to listen to this man. I mean, on one hand, he's right about education is important. But on the other hand, he's undermining that by some of the things he is suggesting.
There is a 10th Amendment to the Constitution specifically to prohibit the growth of the federal government in areas like K-12 education. We've seen under President Obama the federal government get more involved, more expensive, more expansive, more intrusive. It must stop. It must stop here. We must repeal.
This man don't want the government to be involved in the education of people. Huh? Okay, just listen. I mean, if you want to overthrow a powerful nation like this, you have to go to their educational system and tear it up. And you know, what's the best way? You know, there's an old saying, the way to a man's heart is through what? Through his stomach. Well, you know that's physically true, right? But what you didn't realize is that everything that is physical has a spiritual lesson in it. So many foreign influences have bought interest in and controlling interest in America's broadcasting industry. That's the way to your spiritual stomach, mass media. You see? The way to the heart of the people, the way to control what the people love and what the people hate. The mind. What feeds the mind? Mass media. You can look. You may not realize it, but that's what the Nation of Islam suffered. People who were trying to tear it down infiltrated the Nation of Islam and began to corrupt the teachings and put the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's name on it. And he said the nation is honeycombed with hypocrites. He said that. So I done, as the old Southerners say, I done seen this rodeo before. I'm looking at these people that pop up out of nowhere and all of a sudden they're really popular according to the media. Like the man that everybody's on their commercials there. Just dressed him up, sent him out there, told him what to say, then promote him. And you ain't had sense enough to say, well, what has this man really done? Where did he come from? Find a track record for him. You won't find that. A good example. Look at Ted Cruz. Who know anything about Ted Cruz? Now, some of y'all tell us how long he's been around and what he done did and how he's shown that he really cares about the nation that he wants to govern. One thing they done told the truth on President Obama. President Obama cared about poor people before he started running for office. They said he was an activist, you know, working in under, huh? What has Ted Cruz been doing? What Rand Paul, any of them, what any of them been doing? Besides sending poor people off to die in the military, and then when they get back to this country as a veteran, they can't even get decent health care. And then all of it come out. It's been happening, but it all come out during the watch of President Obama. He told you there was going to be more transparency, didn't he? But the thing is, they thought that it was going to all be blamed on him. That's why they wanted to. You remember when John McCain, when the lady stood up when he was running and said he's a Muslim and he's not even an American. And John McCain took the microphone from her and told her that's not so. No. He's a good man. And he was. It's like John McCain was ready to vote for him. Why? Because after they wrecked the country, they wanted to leave the nigger holding the bag. Now, I'm not saying all white people thinking like that. But I'm saying that's what the Norquist bunch, that was their thoughts. They'll forget all about what, you remember they used to say on the news, He's going to have to own this economy after a while. He ain't going to be able to keep on saying Bush, 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 right? And now that the economy doing good, they don't want to talk about it no more. Even had President of Afghanistan, or the new president of Afghanistan over here thanking the American people. Like, Congress ain't got nothing to say. Why? Because it happened for a man that they thought was going to get in there and they was going to make him make things worse, advise him to make things worse. Because frankly, they didn't see him as having intelligence. The only one saw that. And you know, I mean, one of them saw it, and that was Joe Biden. And I believe Joe Biden cares about his country. He cares about the country so much that he just is real when he comes out in front of people. What you see with him is what it is. And as far as promising to give Israel whatever, that's kind of been the policy of America, because a lot happened with them. You know, you'd be surprised at some arm twisting that go on. But anyway, I don't think he'd be their puppet. Just like Obama. He's not their puppet. Otherwise, they would not be trying to tear him down. They'd be trying to lift him up. Ain't we been to this rodeo before? They got weapons of mass destruction. We got to attack them. Then when there wasn't no weapons of mass destruction, it's like, who gave them that intelligence? Their friend. Yeah. But Israel wants you to send your sons and daughters off to die on a humbug. So just listen.
Well, make no mistake about it, for the left, this is the pattern. This is the same group that doesn't think you and I are smart enough to exercise our religious liberty rights. They think we're not smart enough to buy our own insurance. They think we're not smart enough to own guns. They think if you live in New York City, you're not smart enough to drink a big gulp. They don't think we're smart enough to pick the best educational options for our children. The reality is that the dollars need to follow the child. Instead of making the child follow the dollars, we trust parents, not bureaucrats, to make the best decisions for their kids.
You know, you could take his own words and beat him down with them. He said we trust parents to know what's best for their own children, right? That's why parents elect people they feel are smart and will do the right thing. Is that right? But he tearing down. On the one hand, he want to tell you that he thinks that you are intelligent, while at the same time telling you that you're not too intelligent because you done elected these people up here and they shouldn't be there. They elected him too, didn't they? You know, you have to always question a person who, on the one hand, says he wants to be over your government, and on the other hand, he tearing your government down. I was listening at some of the congressmen, but let me let you finish hearing this first.
homeschooling or parochial schools or Christian schools or public schools or charter schools or online programs, we trust the parents. We got that done in Louisiana when we tried to do that. The teacher union said this. They said poor parents don't have a clue when it comes to making choices for their kids. Parents don't have a clue when it comes to making choices for their kids. What?
First, he said poor parents. And that is pretty much true. Tell me something. How can you claim wisdom and you stuck from generation to generation in poverty? You certainly can't cry out that you have great wisdom. So what do most parents say? I want a better life than this for my children. That's why I'm sending them here, or sending them there. And perhaps they will fare better than I did. Huh? Well, the parents can already see he's appealing to ego. Let me repeat that. And he didn't even repeat it. Just listen.
Trust parents, not bureaucrats, to make the best decisions for their kids. Homeschooling or parochial schools or Christian schools or public schools or charter schools or online programs, we trust the parents. We got that done in Louisiana when we tried to do that. The teacher union said this. They said poor parents don't have a clue when it comes to making choices for their kids. Let me repeat that. Parents don't have a clue when it comes to making choices for their kids. When they're really honest, that's what this Common Core.
Is he being honest? You know, when he first said poor parents don't have a clue, the teachers union was right. You look how some poor people go down and clown with teachers who was trying to correct their child. Don't have the slightest clue on how to raise children. Don't have the slightest clue. How in the world are you going to tell me you love your child and you want your child to learn and punishment out of the school system? You don't love your child. He that spareth his rod hated his son. No, you ain't gonna get away with it. That's over in the book of Proverbs. Where's it at? Chapter 13. And verse 24. He that spareth his rod hated his son. Oh, so you thought love meant don't whip him? The word of God says just the opposite. He that spareth his rod hateth his son, but he that loveth him chastiseth him betimes. Meaning what? That at many times as necessary, from time to time, you have to chastise a child if you want them to pay attention and learn from you. Because their attention span is so short because they are so inquisitive about everything around them. So you have to teach them to pay attention. And the only way to teach them to pay attention is to make them pay a penalty. If I'm talking to you, you listen to me. If you don't, your behind gonna be stinging for a little while. And I promise you, I don't care who he is, he don't like that behind stinging. Huh? So he learned to give you attention. Right? And that's all you want, is to get their attention. You make teachers hate students because whenever it ain't no such thing as a grown person that loves a child. There ain't no such thing as a hard-headed child that was left to themselves to do what they please. He ain't gonna grow up to be much of nothing but over. And of course, the prisons are privatized now, and it's a business. Once it gets privatized, it becomes a business. Everybody goes in business to put themselves out of business. Oh, let's listen to him some more.
Debate is really about. They don't trust us to be smart enough to educate our own children. They think that if the elites in D.C. don't force us, if they don't force us to adopt their standards, their curriculum, their tests, we're not smart enough to educate our children. Well, the Founding Fathers got it right. They knew the purpose of the federal government, of a limited federal government, was to secure but not create our God-given rights.
Isn't it strange that they keep reinventing the Founding Fathers? I mean, there's records on how the Founding Fathers thought on different things. Why they don't do like I'm doing? Read it to you. Promote then, as an object of primary importance, institutions for the general diffusion of knowledge. In proportion as the structure of a government gives force to public opinion, it is essential that the public opinion should be enlightened. But he said the Founding Fathers meant for the government to stay out of that. Lying! Well, he know you ain't gonna go check nothing. You don't go check nothing, do you? An unrighteous man brings you news. You think that Bobby Jindal is a prophet or something. Have Bobby Jindal told you he's a prophet? Has any of these politicians, Ted Cruz, Barack Obama, Harry Reid, John Boehner? Then why would you give them your, because they may not like something that somebody that you don't like, or they may lean this way or that way? Do that mean everything that come out of their mouth is gospel? Then if they are telling the truth, they don't mind you checking up on them. And if they were truthful and just say the Founding Fathers said so and so, I got George Washington's farewell address right off of the internet. I got this speech off of the internet. He could have got it and read it to him, but it don't say what he was trying to get you to think. It don't agree with him, so he don't quote the Founding Father. He simply says they had in mind what he said. They had it about. That's why they said you better get enlightened so that people like this can't fool you. So listen. Why do you suppose he got his in his pocket? That's not the way people stand up and talk to you. That's the way people talk to you when they got got another agenda that they hoping you going for. Trying to sell you on something that he himself don't even believe. That's why he stands with his hand in his pocket, casual. I'll just, let me try this. Run up the flagpole, hit a flag. Is that right? You know, I told you the human body was designed to manifest what's really going on in your mind. That's all the body does. It reflects the mind. Look here. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad never was trying to get us to hate white people. He was trying to get us to love ourselves. And he was given truth about ourselves and about white people and where they came from. I mean, just knowing that white people came out of us changed the way we look at them and other people. Huh? And then after he taught us that the white man is the devil, he then told us, he said, you go by his color. Because you didn't know who was up under the color. You know, that's why when Geno Jennings, if you go back and listen, even to where the brother Smallwood was trying to say, I said that the Master Farad Muhammad wasn't mixed. That's not what I said. That may have sounded like what that was until you go and listen to it, and then you realize I was telling him, no, that's what I've been trying to tell you. That it never was about color. You know, Master Farad Muhammad was the product of a black man and a white woman. And the scripture says why he came like that. He came in the likeness of sinful flesh. For sin. For means because of. The messenger said his father knew that he could not come into a solid white country, and him being a solid black man, he wouldn't have been able to come and bring us that knowledge. So he went and got him a white wife and made a good Muslim out of her. And alone told you that color ain't got nothing to do with you being a Muslim. You understand? A Muslim is a state of mind. But anyway, he said, and then the first child that she gave him, it was a girl. And he said, his father said, I missed that time. And so the next one, he said, that was him. He said, that was me. And he said, he sent, his father used to go travel to different places and to governments and peoples, and he would pay large sums of money for a word or two of wisdom from this one, a word or two from that one, and he'd come back and teach it to his son. And then he sent him over here to find us. And so he came in America looking white. And so, you know, him being a white man, at least white skin, you know, they did not recognize what he was doing until it was done. And so, you know, that's what the messenger taught about him, and that's what the scripture says. He came in the likeness of sinful flesh because of sin, to condemn sin in the flesh. Do you understand? If white people is all devils, then what is Master Farad Muhammad? If your skin make you so. Then, no, your skin don't make you good or bad. It's the mind that's in that skin. So we are here to cast the devil out. All right? All right. So we are not, you know, we're not here to lie to you. That's one thing that you can't get away with to somebody who paid attention. to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You can't lie to me about what he said, and you can't add something to his teaching with his teaching. Anything I say, I can show you that he agreed with me. He's the one that said that there are white Muslims in America. He didn't say there are devil Muslims. There's no such thing as a devil Muslim. He said Muslims in America, and lots of them. He was talking about people who truly believe in the Holy Bible, that it's the word of God. If that man believed that that's God's word, you'll see that, because he will respect and honor that word when you remind him of what the book says. And those are the ones that honored the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and recognized that what he was teaching was actually the truth, the word of God, and he couldn't have got it from no place but God. And so that's how they know who I am. You don't see no Caucasian challenging me on what I teach. They even told you, you better follow me. See that? So the only other time you heard about the Ku Klux Klan telling somebody that you heard them write a letter to the messenger and telling the black people you need to follow him. You see? And they bore witness that Islam is the black man's religion. They call it a nigger religion. What is Christianity then? He's owning it without even telling you. You're supposed to read between the lines. The white made that up. You see? Now, which of us is the oldest? The black man. Well, if you get the old time religion, you got to get the black man's religion. That's Islam. It's that. And before you say, well, then you mixed over there with them. Didn't them people overseas tell you that the Nation of Islam had nothing to do with it? They say that. And I bear witness that what they have is not what we have. We have a new Islam. Why? Because I'm making all things new. Well, how'd you do that? All things delivered unto me my Father. And behold, I make all things new. You ain't never looked at the scripture like I'm sharing them with you. You ain't never heard no teacher stand up and do like I'm doing. Politicians and stuff. I'll play them back and let you see that they don't know what they're talking about if they don't know what they're talking about. So just listen to him.
Now, the second practical reason we oppose Common Core, and I would invite any parent that's undecided about this, look at the standards, look at the content themselves. I've done that. My little boy, he is now a third grader. He was a second grader last year. If you're undecided about Common Core, look at the math standards. Look at how they're teaching math. This is the new math is what I call it. So my little boy was in the second grade last year, and he's a good student. Gets great grades in math. Brings home his math homework, his math test. Gets all the answers right. Very simple math. 18 plus 4 is 22. That kind of math problem gets it all right. The problem was the second half of the test. There, the teacher said you've got to explain why your answers are right using Common Core methodology. So now, instead of 18 plus 4, it is 20 minus 2 plus 4. And you have to draw, you've got to draw squares or rectangles for the one. It takes about 6 steps to explain your answers. Now, I love my little boy.
Now, he's trying to condemn the teachers for showing the students that 18 minus 4 is the same thing as 20 minus 2 minus 4. Just teaching them to think broader. He thinks there's something wrong with that. You know what's wrong with it? Is that when you start teaching students to hear not only what's said, but hear when it's the same thing being said, just in a different way, then they'll know when somebody double talking them. Huh? You see? Get up there and sit down and shut up. They will, you know, they don't want your mind expanded. The more your mind expands, the more your understanding of things and language expands. What they tell you in the Willie Lynch thing. You don't ever want the slave to learn your language. Otherwise, he'll be sitting down in your house talking to you as an equal. Huh? That's what made John Boehner mad when President Obama first got elected. He thought he was dealing with a dumb Negro. And he started immediately telling the president, the newly elected president, he's sitting there telling him, this is what we need to do and whatnot. And after he got through expounding, the president told him, said, but John, I won. I mean, he was so diplomatic about it that made John mad. He was simply saying to John Boehner, wait a minute. I'm the president, not you. You don't come to the president of the United States dictating to me what I'm supposed to do. What are you doing? You're out of line. That's what he was telling him. You're out of line. You don't forget, you're a part of the lawmaking body. You're not the executive. The president is the chief executive of the United States government. And he's talking to the chief executive as though he's the chief executive, and now this is what you need to do here. And got mad as hell because the president told him in a nice way, John, you can't come in here dictating to me what to do. That's not, the people didn't elect you, they elected me to determine what's the best course. I've told them what I intended to do, and that's exactly what I intend to do. That's what I ran on. I don't ran on elect me and I'll do whatever John Boehner and the Republicans in Congress have to say, or what the Democrats in Congress tell me to do. But they're trying to turn your presidency into a figurehead position. You better wake up. I'm talking to the intelligent white people.
But he was 7 at the time. He had the attention span of a gnat. So this is what he wrote in response to every single question when the teacher said, explain why your answer is right, anticipating these 6 complicated steps. For every single question, he wrote, just because it is. The teacher sent home the test. She goes, I don't know what to do with this. My wife talked to my son, and then she called me over and said, you need to talk to your son. When he's my son, he's never done anything good, by the way. I sat down. I honestly couldn't chide him after a couple of minutes to tell him he did anything wrong. Here's the final thing I'll say about Common Core before I move to my third topic. You think the math standards are bad? You think the ELA standards are bad? What would happen if the federal government were defining, making standards for how we teach American history to our kids? Under this administration, American history would be all about victimization. It wouldn't be about American exceptionalism the way that you and I learned about why this is the greatest country in the history of the world.
You know, as much business talking about being the president of the United States as that child of mine that I just had to tell get his behind up there and sit down. How do you expect to command any respect from nations that you call yourself correcting when they know some of your faults and your history and you try to pretend that it don't exist? Do you honestly think people will respect you when you see everybody's faults but your own? The first sign of is to admit your own blame, admit your own fault. That's what gives you the authority to tell other people about theirs. And this dummy here standing up looking at manhood. See, here's a man, and I use the term lightly if he truly believes what he's saying. That see a man that truly is acting like a man, while that's what he wants to be and don't know how. He wants to be a man, but he condemns actions of a man, of manhood. What's the first thing a child will do? He'll come tell you something about somebody that did something to him, right?
Yes.
Then you ask him, what did you do? What did you do to them? I ain't did nothing. Lying.
Yes.
But as you grow, you have to take responsibility for what you do. If you take responsibility for what you do, you can demand that other people take responsibility for what they did. Huh?
Yes.
All right. But he don't understand that. Mr. Jindal don't understand that.
We got to stop Common Core, but not just stop it. We got to stop the next iteration. This isn't the first, it won't be the last time the federal government tries to interfere in our local classrooms. Secondly, let's repeal Common Core.
Tell me something. It's one of the things that the president says in the oath of office that he swears to defend America and the Constitution from all enemies, foreign and what? And domestic. How's he going to do that if you do away with the federal government? What if states, what if in charge becomes governor or mayor or any mayor, governor, anything, the governor of a state is the most powerful man in the state, isn't he? What if he decides to deprive you, use the state as the people or a group or an individual in the state? How's the president going to correct him without the means to do so? How's the president going to fulfill his oath of office if his power ends at the state? And it's not the United States of America anymore. The federal government is what keeps it the United States of America. That's one of the tools that is put there to help it remain united. Next, you be hollering the sovereign state of so-and-so. This the sovereign state of this and the sovereign state of that. Yeah, under the jurisdiction of the United States. Do you understand? But this man don't understand that. He keep on talking about, he keep parakeeting that you need to government's power, the size of it. Just another way of saying reduce the power of it. But if you say the power of it, you want to ask why. But if you just say it's too big, well then you know, I mean, you know, you can reduce its power by just reducing its size. Huh? But don't say power. Take away its power by shrinking it. Right? Like you don't have to say you're gonna decrease that a generator put out. When you decrease the size of the wire, you already decrease the amount of power it's putting out. Is that right? Yeah. You see, so these people got into the government and just gutting it from within. My job is to warn you. So that's what I'm doing. Because I truly don't wish for you what I wouldn't wish for myself. The scripture says, as you would that men do to you, do ye also unto them. Didn't say as they do to you. That's what God said from himself. He said, as thou hast done, so shall it be done unto you. Huh? Well, that was his response to, as you would that men do to you, do ye also unto them. Because even though they're going to do that, not what you do to them, but what they want you to do to them, God's going to say, well, this is what you did to so-and-so, so this what's going to happen to you. Do you understand? You know, and that keeps you out of trouble because you didn't do it. He gonna do it. Vengeance is mine. That's what he said. So let's go a little further.
Third issue is much more important as Obamacare and Common Core are. This.
But before it's something I want to ask you. Is there a such thing, a policeman bank robber? Any of you have you ever heard that term used? They may say a man with a police uniform on robbed the bank, but they don't say a policeman bank robber. Do they? You don't say a congressman gangster. Huh? Those two don't go together, do they? The job description does not permit him to be a. If he is found to be a gangster, they have avenues to get him out of Congress, don't they? Because he don't belong there, right? And when they put him up there in jail, they don't call him congressman no more. They call him a crook, a criminal, right? Okay. And likewise, a doctor mass murderer. No. Well, likewise, there is no such thing as a Muslim terrorist. there is no such thing as a Muslim terrorist. What's the one thing that all terrorists have in common? You remember the Boston Marathon bombing? Did any of those people do anything specifically that the news media reported to harm either the man that's in custody or his, huh? Let me something to you here. This is the book of Genesis, the 18th chapter. And I want you to go with me to, I want to find in both books. The 18th chapter and we're going to start at the 17th verse. Be perusing that while I'm looking for something else here. You got people that claim that they don't believe in the Holy Bible or the Holy Quran, you know, that some over here, they'll tell you they don't believe in the Quran, and them over there in the East, they will tell you they don't believe in the Bible, right? Okay. So I want you to turn to the 11th chapter of the Holy Quran. Okay. Now, remember now, the Holy Quran says it is a reminder. Okay. Now, in the 18th chapter, it says, let's start at the first verse. It says, and the Lord appeared unto him in the plains of Mamre, and he sat in the tent door in the heat of the day, and he lifted up his eyes and looked, and lo, 3 men stood by him. And when he saw them, he ran to meet them from the tent door and bowed himself toward the ground and said, my Lord, if now I have found favor in thy sight, pass not away, I pray thee, from thy servant. Let a little water, I pray thee, be fetched, and wash your feet, and rest yourselves under the tree. And I will fetch a morsel of bread, and comfort ye your hearts. After that ye shall pass on, for therefore are ye come to your. And they said, so do as thou hast said. And Abraham hastened into the tent unto Sarah and said, make ready quickly 3 measures of fine meal, knead it, and make cakes upon the hearth. And Abraham ran unto the herd and fetched a calf, tender and good, and gave it unto a young man, and he hastily dressed. He took butter and milk, and he had dressed, and set it before them. And he stood by them under the tree, and they did eat. Notice now, they ate. Flesh, if angels wasn't flesh and blood, then what they doing eating? They was on their way to Lot. But let's see here. It says, and they said unto him, where is Sarah thy wife? And he said, behold, in the tent. And he said, I will certainly return unto thee according to the time of life. And lo, Sarah thy wife shall have a son. And Sarah heard it in the tent door, which was behind him. Now Abraham and Sarah were old and well stricken in age, and it ceased to be with Sarah after the manner of women. And she had been through menopause and stuff. And therefore Sarah laughed within herself, saying, after I am waxed old, shall I have pleasure, my Lord being old also? And the Lord said unto Abraham, wherefore did Sarah laugh, saying, shall I of a surety bear a child, which am old? Is anything too hard for it? At the time appointed, I will return unto thee according to the time of life, and Sarah shall have a son. Then Sarah denied, saying, I laugh not, for she was afraid. And he said, nay, but thou didst laugh. And the men rose up from thence and looked toward Sodom, and Abraham went with them to bring them on the way. And the Lord said, shall I hide from Abraham that thing which I do? Seeing that Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth shall be blessed in him. For I know him, that he will command his children and his household after him, that they shall keep the way of the Lord, to do justice and judgment, that the Lord may bring upon Abraham that which he hath spoken of him. And the Lord said, because the cry is great, and because their sin is very grievous, I will go down now and see whether they have done altogether according to the cry of it, which it is come unto me. And if not, I will know. Now, this is for all of you who think God's supposed to just know stuff. Well, you see, you had to go down there and see it. Huh? And it says, and the men turned their faces from thence and went toward Sodom. But Abraham stood yet before the Lord. Abraham drew near and said, wilt thou also destroy the righteous with the wicked? Peradventure, there be 50 righteous within the city. Wilt thou also destroy and not spare the place for the 50 righteous that are therein? That be far from thee, to do after this manner, to slay the righteous with the wicked, and that the righteous should be as the wicked. That far from, will not the judge of all the earth do right? Isn't that Abraham pleading for the people, saying, you gonna just go there and kill up everybody? What about the good people that may be there? Listen at the answer. And the Lord said, if I find in Sodom 50 righteous within the city, then I will spare all the place for their sakes. So what that say about people calling themselves a Muslim and just going into a place and killing up a lot of people that they don't know, that had never, a lot of these people in America, they ain't never understood the scriptures. Never. People all over the earth have never understood the scriptures. How are you holding anybody accountable for disobedience to what they didn't understand? If I had not come and spoken unto them, they had not had sin. That's my job. is to share the truth with you, all of you. The Holy Quran says in the 69th verse of the 11th chapter, and certainly our messengers came to Abraham with good news, said peace, 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 and peace, said he. And he made no delay in bringing a roasted calf, but when he saw that their hands reached not to it, he mistrusted them and conceived fear of them. They said, fear not, we have been sent to Lot's people. And his wife was standing by, so she wondered. Then we gave her the good news of Isaac, and beyond Isaac of Jacob. She said, oh wonder, shall I bear a son when I am an extremely old woman? And this, my husband, an extremely old man, this is a wonderful thing indeed. They said, wondrous thou at Allah's commandment, the mercy of Allah and his blessings on you, people of the house. Surely he is praised and glorious. So when fear departed from Abraham and good news came to him, he began to plead with us for Lot's people. So if the Bible is a lie, what is the Holy Quran backing it up for? How do you say you believe in the Bible, but you don't believe in the Quran? How do you say you believe in the Quran, but you don't believe in the Bible? And they simply said, "O Abraham, cease from this. Surely the decree of thy Lord has gone forth, and there must come to them a chastisement that cannot be averted." So that is the thing that the Bible said in so many words. If it's some righteous there, they're going to be spared. But if not, they're going to be punished. Huh? But these, so you get people like this man, Bobby. Look at what he has to put over. I'm going to show you. Just a moment. Let's get back to him. Let me see, which one was it in? It was in that one. There's him.
This issue is much more important than the first issue. As a country, we must fight and win. We must win the war against radical Islam.
Radical Islamic terrorism, he says. Now let's see here. I want to look up the definition of some of this stuff he's saying, so that you will understand that he don't know what he's talking about. In the Holy Quran, it says in chapter 5, let's see here. I think it's chapter 5. I'll tell you in a minute. Yes. In the 3rd verse, it says, forbidden to you is that which dies of itself, and blood and flesh of swine, and that on which any other name than that of Allah has been invoked, and the strangled animal, and that which is beaten to death, and that killed by a fall, and that killed by goring with the horn, and that which wild beasts have eaten, except what you slaughter. You can eat your own leftovers. You can do that. And that which is sacrificed on stones set up for idols, and that you seek to divide by arrows, that is a transgression. This day have those who disbelieve despaired when it says this day have those who disbelieve. See, when you disbelieve in the Holy Bible, you disbelieve in Moses, because that's all we have left of Moses. You disbelieve in Ezekiel. You disbelieve in Jeremiah. You disbelieve in Isaiah. You disbelieve in Jesus. You disbelieve in Hosea. You disbelieve in Amos. You disbelieve in Muhammad. When you disbelieve in the scriptures, you disbelieve in the ones that Allah revealed them to and through. Allah made a covenant, the prophets. And if you disbelieve in the covenant, you disbelieve in the ones that it came through. I ain't never heard of no fool even say, I disbelieve in the ocean. I don't believe it's water. You ever heard anybody say that? You go out there, you can't drink it. You can't drink the ocean. If you drink from it, you're bound to get sick. And if you drink too much from it, you're subject to die. But I ain't yet heard nobody say that the ocean is not water. Then why did God let it all get so nasty like that? Because he made a sun. And as the sun, as the earth turns and lifts up the sun, as good as says, if I be lifted up, I will draw all of that water, polluted. I will draw it all unto me. And when it come back, it'll be fit for you to drink. And as Allah, through his messenger, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, have drawn me up, have lifted me up. He raised me up through the teachings that Master Farad Muhammad gave him. And I draw all men. The messengers of God are the men. I draw all those men unto me. And when I speak their words back to you, they don't kill you, they give you life. And so it says, this day have those who disbelieve. This day, you are living in the Sabbath day now. This day, those who disbelieve, despair of religion. They don't like Islam. But they couldn't condemn Islam as was taught by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So they got their friends overseas there that are now their enemies. But they was buddies. And began to say that what the Nation of Islam had is not true Islam. You heard it. Am I lying on anybody? They said in their heart, got behind closed doors, let's cut them off from being a nation. So they despaired of our religion. What is, when you're in despair, you're disappointed, sad over it, because you can't do nothing about it. So the only thing they could do is ignore us and then try to put the focus of attention on what they have overseas there. And so it says, this day, the Sabbath day, have those who disbelieve in the Holy Scriptures despaired of your religion. So fear them not, and fear me. This day have I perfected for you your religion. What is it? No more doubt about what the instruction of righteousness is talking about. For I am the rightly guided one. When you perfect the thing, you complete the thing. The word of God was not completed in your mind as long as the understanding of it was obscure to you, was unknown to you. And all you could do is guess at it, and different people having different understandings of it. I done got rid of all that. This day have I perfected for you your religion and completed my favor. Didn't you say guide us on the right path? The path of those upon whom thou hast bestowed what? Favor. Allah favored Muhammad with the Holy Quran. He favored Jesus with the gospel. He favored Isaiah with the book of Isaiah, and Moses with the Torah, and David with the Psalms. But when you read those books, he didn't favor you with the understanding of it. That's how you got all these different religions. But Allah have sent me with the true guidance and the true religion. You don't have the true religion if you ain't got the true understanding of what Allah had in his mind when he revealed these books. It ain't important what you understood them to mean. What's important is, since you say you want to do his will, then you have to understand what he understood when he said it. This day, the Sabbath day, have I perfected for you your religion and completed my favor to you and chosen for you Islam as a religion. But whosoever is compelled by hunger, not inclining willfully to sin, then surely Allah is forgiving and merciful. What is that to say? Blessed are they that do hunger and thirst after righteousness. So hungry for it that they kept going to church. They kept going to synagogue, kept going to any place just to hear the messages of God recited. They were so hungry that when a man hungry, he would just about eat anything. But you'll notice you can't get your preacher and your imams and your scholars, your sheikhs and all of them people. None of them are willing to come in here and have a one-on-one with me. Why? Because they know I know what I'm talking about, and they know they don't know. So, what is this man talking about? Radical Islam. Did he say, I have chosen for you radical Islam? And even you look up the term radical, it says arising from or going to the root or source or base. How in the world are you going to call these people what they're doing radical Islam? If they went to the root or the base, then it's directly from God. For God is the root of Islam. You that silly man stand up there don't know what he's talking about. But that's what happens when a lesser starts ignoring what one who is in a higher office than himself had to say. The president of the United States already told them that America is not at war with Islam. You any nation to be a fool to be talking about you at war against God. Now listen, he ain't through. He started making blunders. Just listen to him.
I want to share something with you that brings no joy to my heart. I want to share something with you I don't say as a partisan and as a conservative for ideological reasons. I say this with a heavy heart. I genuinely do. President Obama has disqualified himself, but he's shown himself incapable of being our commander-in-chief. Now, why do I say that? These barbarians, they are murdering journalists for drawing cartoons they don't like. Beheaded 21 Egyptian Coptic Christians for their beliefs. Burned alive Jordanian island. Killed the teachers in Pakistan. Put it all on social media as a recruiting tool. Murdering, killing, torturing Christians, Muslims, other religious minorities. This is what our president has to say. He says we are not at war with Islam. Well, certainly we're not at war with Islam, but we are at war with radical Islam. If we identify the threat that we face, how can we count on them to effectively win and prosecute this war? He's got an attorney general who says we're not even at or in a state of war. How many of you, by the way, are going to be happy when Eric Holder is out of a job?
Does this man know what a war is? He's talking about the president have not named who we are at war. The president has already told you that we're going to deal with terrorists wherever we find them. He already named them what they are. People who try to gain their way through actions and deeds done purposely to instill fear in masses of people in order to get to their will. Terrorists. There is no such thing as a Muslim terrorist. He even said that they are killing Muslims and they are well, how in the world you gonna call them Islamic terrorists if they're killing Muslims? The Holy Quran says a Muslim will not take the life of another Muslim except by accident. How in the world you tell me you're a Muslim and you doing things, committing murder and being aggressive on people? Let me read, I have to explain many things. And I think one of those things that I need to explain is the Holy Quran, where it's smiting the necks of people. You need to do this for yourself. In chapter 47 of the Holy Quran, I know it's late. I'm going to let you go in a minute. In chapter 47, and it's the chapter entitled Muhammad, And it ain't spelled M-O either. You see? So it says, in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. It says, those who disbelieve and turn men from Allah's understanding. Your way is your understanding. And turn men from Allah's way, his understanding. He will destroy their works. And those who believe and do good, since there's none good but the Father. Didn't Jesus say that? He said, what you calling me good for? There's none good but one, and that is God. Huh? Okay. Then if it says those who believe and do good, well, that Allah have raised up and have given the guidance and the understanding of his instruction. So now you don't have no excuse to say, I thought I was doing the right thing. You now, he chose for you Islam as a religion, submission. Because we didn't send no messenger, but that you should submit to him and obey him. So if you obey me, I will guide you into the doing of good. And as is written, and those who believe and do good, who believe in the Son of Man and obey me, and believe in that which has been revealed to Muhammad. And it is the truth. That's what's been revealed to me. It's the truth that is from Allah. It is the truth, messengers of God, which were your lords. It says, he will remove their evil. What's another word for removing evil? Purify. Recite the messages to them and teach them the book and the wisdom, purify them. Remove their evil from them and improve their condition. That is because those who disbelieve follow falsehood. Those who disbelieve follow misunderstanding. They follow those who have made up their own interpretation of the scripture, thereby putting a false hood over it, like the creation false hood on it. Darkness, that's a false hood. How you know? You can't see the creation for what it really looks like. The creation don't look like it do right now. In reality, the creation is all full of colors and everything. So darkness puts a false hood on it. And it says, and those who believe follow the truth from their Lord. That's right. Not from themselves, but from their Lord. It says, thus does Allah set forth their descriptions for men. So when you meet in battle those who disbelieve, smite the necks. Now listen good. Just as the physical neck is what protects or connects the head to the greater body. Why we say greater body? Because the head is a body to itself. It's a body of members. But it connects to a greater body by the neck. Is that right? What connects leaders to their followers? It is the teachings that they have, their understanding that they have. Smite the necks. You notice I go right to the teachings that people give. I'm going to this man's teaching. And I'm attacking with the sword of truth. I'm smiting the neck. Huh? Then it says, then when you have overcome them. He it is who sent his messenger with guidance and the true religion, that he may make it overcome the religions, all of them, though the polytheists murder. So when you have overcome them, make them prisoners. The record of the righteous and the wicked is all in the prison. Turn to chapter 83 and hold on to 47, because I got to come back to it. 83. It says, in the name of Allah, the beneficent, the merciful. It's entitled Default in Duty. Since the duty of man is to fear God and keep his commandments, anyone who is man on this planet that does not fear God and obey his commandments has defaulted in their duty. It says, in the name of Allah, the beneficent, the merciful. Woe to the cheaters, who when they take the measure of their dues from men, they take it fully. And when they measure out to others or weigh out for them, they give less than is due. They don't give unto others and do unto others as they'd have others do unto them. When they want justice, they want it fully. But when it's time to give justice, they give less than is due. And it says, do they not think that they will be raised again? That's why the scripture is compared to leaven. When you put leaven in dough, you put yeast in dough, it raises it. I'm putting the truth in your mind, raising you so you can be judged. Do they not think that they will be raised again to a mighty day? Yeah. The day when men will stand before the Lord of the worlds. Nay, surely the wicked is where? In the prison. And what will make thee know what the prison is? It's a written book. So Allah said, when I've overcome them, when you overcome them with the truth, son of man, when you smite their necks, their lies that they've been connecting themselves to all of these thousands of people with, then it says, make them prisoners. Don't speak to them with nothing but my words and show them where you're getting them from. What is a prison area? You notice, ever since you've been listening to me, I've been confining the conversation to what's in the scripture. I waited until we got back up on the internet here, because they just blanked us out. So it says that the prisoners, it says overcome them, it says then when. Didn't it say if you overcome them? Look at the words. Allah didn't send me here on no hope. He sent me here with the plain truth. And he said, we are not to be overcome. No, we are not to be overcome. He have sent me here with the plain truth. That's why the devil gonna say to you when it's all over, surely he came to me with plain truth. Yeah, that's you're gonna say that concerning what I came to you with, and you wouldn't follow me. You're gonna be wishing you had it taken away with me. And so I'm not going to belabor it. I know we're about to go off in a couple of minutes. So y'all better go into the conference room, because you really need to hear this. It says, so then when you have overcome them, make prisoners, meaning take them into the Holy Scriptures and keep them in there. Keep through thine own name. That's what Jesus said to me too. Those men that thou gavest me, they will die, and all mine are thine. That's what he said. So I'm keeping you in the Holy Scriptures. That's what that song, lift every voice and sing, keep us forever in thy path, we pray. Huh? Thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. That's what he said, yes. David walked by this word that I'm sharing. And once a man done walked, he leaves a path that have to be followed if you want to know which way he went. But if you can't find this path, how you gonna follow it? So Lord, your word is a lamp under my feet, meaning your words directed me and let me see where I was stepping in. And when you get here and it's in your mouth, it would be light of understanding to the way I went, the path I made. Huh? That's what I'm doing. I'm giving light of understanding to the path that David made. Then it says, after you make them prisoners, then it says, and afterwards set them free as a favor or a favor. It's what the white man needed. And as a ransom is what black people need. How long you been saying, let me go? And what the devil say? I ain't gonna let you go to me. When you give a person a favor, you do them a favor, you gave them a blessing. And so I'm here to set everybody free with the truth. And as a favor to white people, he said he wouldn't do it until I blessed him. And as a ransom for you, because he made sure that I show up here, because he done made you and me crazy, made us Negroes. And he couldn't nobody undo that but the God who's prophesied to come and take the curse off of him. Ain't gonna be no more curse. Then it says, the war lay down its burden. What is the burden of war? Hatred and misunderstanding and lack of a desire for peace. Do you understand? So that is what I'm mission to do. As the more you listen to me, the less you want to do any harm to anybody. And it says, and that shall be so. What is it? That shall be so. I mean, that's going to happen. I'm going to take away all of your hatred and enmity towards each other, because I know the root of it. The root of it is misunderstanding. The root of it is ignorance. So I'm here to wise you up that you should not hate each other. And you should not be integrating with each other either. If you keep integrating with white people, that's one thing the Ku Klux Klan had right. Pretty soon there won't be no white people. Now you done erased the whole race of people that you shouldn't have did that, because they have talents and abilities that you are erasing when you erase them. Do you understand? You know, it's like a room in your house. If you go down, you can tear the room down, but your house is less of a house now. You see? Oh, I just want to remodel. I don't want to tear it down. Do you understand? Hush, boy. And it says, and if Allah please, he would certainly exact retribution from them. This is for all of you who think that you're supposed to cut somebody's head off. If Allah wanted to get some retribution on them, he don't need you to do that. He don't need me to do that. He done showed you many times. They keep on talking about, how in the world, you notice, they always say the conditions had to be just right, and this had to happen, and that had to happen. And then that tornado, this is what produces a tornado. This is what has to happen with a hurricane. Allah, no accident. If Allah want to get you, he get you. They sitting up talking about how long it would take for the polar caps to melt. Decades, they say, with it. Took place in a few months of it. Few months. Why? Because I'm here. And you not gonna make no joke out of me, boy. As Allah said, it's not a joke. And so it's written. It says, and if Allah please, he would certainly exact retribution from them, but that he may try some of you by means of others. Who of you really believes in the way of peace, as you would that men do to you? Do ye also unto them. You don't find out what a man believes until you get into disputes and wars with him and he capture you. Once in a position where you can't fight him, now he can either be merciful or he can show you that he's a beast. Now, I'll say this. America and some of its rulers have been some low-down people. But even at Gitmo, one of their biggest complaints was torture, not beheadings. And some of those men who was fighting America lived after being in captivity to go back and rejoin their families. What is the term take no prisoners? That is a word that comes from a heart that has no mercy in it. No wonder the Holy Quran says those nearest to the prophets in faith. For the prophets were the believers, or those who say we are Christian. President Obama is not the first president that tried to talk peace rather than walking around listening to warmongers. So, you know, if the book says, if Allah please, Allah does what he pleases. He would certainly mean without doubt, exact retribution from him, but that he may try some of you by means of others. And those who are slain in the way of Allah, he will never allow their deeds to perish. You know, a good example. You think Allah couldn't have stopped these people from murdering some of his prophets and his messengers? Word that those men brought here, that word is still here. Allah don't allow their deeds to perish. And now, you who heard the words, thou shalt not kill, and yet you still have wars and bloodshed, and you act like you praying to Allah for success, and you say against the infidel, and you the infidel. Infidel means without faith, faithless. Faith means trust. If you trust in Allah so much, why you going around aggressing on people and trying to blow people up and murder people? If this goes for both sides of the ocean, the east and the west are guilty. Why you don't trust in God and his word to sit down at the table of reason and at the table of brotherhood with your fellow human being and hear each other out and let Allah's word be the final judge between you. I remember the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in 74. He said, you go to war with no man. No. Go to war with no man that which of his own. Your will is your own. I want to be free to decide whether I will serve Allah or not serve him. Because in the final analysis, if I serve him, I have to answer to him. If I refuse to serve him, I have to answer to him, not to you. And each and every human being has a will of their own. And you go to war with no man over that which is his own. No, you go to war with yourself. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad told me. He said, go to war with yourself. That's the holy war. Jesus said, thou hypocrite, get the beam first out of your own eye, that you may see clearly. How you going to see with a light beam in your eye? And as long as you looking down in the scriptures, and if you be honest, not one of you out there can look into the Holy Scriptures and claim that you ready now to explain them to everybody. Then you got a beam in your eye. Then how you gonna guide me? You're like a man who would pretend he's taking some light to the sun. You ain't got no light to bring me. I am the light. Son of man. The word have now been made flesh and is dwelling among you. Get yourself back in there and sit down. So it says, he will guide them and improve their condition. When you are slain in the way of Allah, you remember what Paul said? I die daily. Well, he's slain daily then. You see, in order for a man to mature, he has to die, gradually be putting away childish thinking. Pretty soon, the child mind in him is no longer there. It has matured and became an adult. And the child died. Now, if you know anything about dying, you know the material that your body is made out of. That material is still here. It don't go nowhere but back to dust, ash to ash. You know, the iron that's in your body, it go back to the earth. Everything that's in there, it go back. It's gone. But it's still here. It's just not in the form that we call you no more. Right? Well then. And so it is with our mind. The mind that, see, I still remember what happened when I was a child, but I'm not that child no more. But that child, the material that that child was made of, that material is still here in my mind. It's just got more added to it. You understand? So, and those who die in the way of Allah, the way you die in the way of Allah is in understanding. You cease to believe one thing and to understand it on one level, and you understand it on a different level now, so you died in the way of Allah. Do you understand? And Allah, and as it says, and those those who are slain in the way of Allah, he will allow their deeds to perish. He will guide them. God don't guide the dead. He guides the living. Do you understand? So you know it's not talking about physical dying. It's talking about spiritual dying. As it says, and improve their condition. You can't improve no condition for no corpse. Corpse is gone. Is that right? And it says, and make them enter the garden which he has made known to them. If I had not made the Father known to you, you would never have known that the Holy Scriptures is the Father of the mind that's standing here talking to you. You see? And so, no man know who the Son is but the Father, nor any man the Father but the Son, and he to whom the Son will reveal him. So to put the pin in it there, I would like to keep going, but time won't permit. So we'll take this up further with you at the future time. As you see, that man don't know what he's talking about. Bobby Jindal up there talking about we are at war with it. Islam. You at war with God, dummy. Them people that's over there murdering and doing whatever in the name of Islam, that's not Islam. That's terrorism. And they should be called terrorists. Period. You better be glad Bobby Jindal ain't the president. You know, that's the last thing you want to do is declare war on Allah. Any questions before I let you go? Sometimes people have a question that something that you say. I don't like leaving people hanging. So anybody had something they want to ask me, you can feel free to do so. They can even type it. I don't care. I know some of them don't want to talk. So if they want to type their question, they can do so. And I will answer it if I can. Just don't ask no question you don't want to know the answer to. Matter of fact, the Holy Quran says, "Oh, you who believe, ask not questions that the answer to will give you trouble. For indeed, a people before you asked such questions and became disbelievers therein." And if you ask at a time when the Quran is being revealed, you'll get an answer. And there ain't no blame on me. You should have asked for the sake of learning instead of talking about if he say if he say this or if he say that, I'm out of here. Well, you out of here then, because if you didn't want to know, you shouldn't ask. You ain't never heard no man stand up and teach like I teach, hours and hours at a time, and you couldn't find nothing that you could accuse him of other than being truthful. And you notice I'm not searching for something to teach. I run out of time. I don't run out of teaching. I got plenty. This is the well that don't run dry. Wa alaikum salam.
Yes, sir, brother man. I have a question in reference to the statement was made Sunday, and then you mentioned it again tonight. Dying daily, and you say that we die daily, involving into what who Allah wants us to be. How do we know what Allah wants us to be? Yes, sir.
Ain't none of y'all. I'm making y'all what I want you to be. You still getting back to that spooky idea of God. No, the closest to God you go standing here talking to you. You can get offended. Those who got offended, that's just too bad. Get offended. But I'm not going to apologize being who I am. According to the scripture, it says that the Lord, He is God. The messenger said that this one, he said that I'm representing to you, go back and get 73 Savior's Day. He said he don't have to go and get nothing. He just, and you start changing just from his word. That's what I'm doing. I'm changing you with just the words. And if it's something about you I don't like, I just tell you, look, I don't want you doing that no more. This is how I want you to do that.
Yes, sir.
It's just that simple. The body does not know anything. The head is the knower. And how do you know when you are pleasing Allah? You please his messenger, you pleasing him. When you please the man that Allah put there to teach you, then when one of us is pleased, all of us is pleased. Because we are one. You see?
Yes, sir.
And that's how that goes. So you don't have, I tell people all the time, I've had brothers and sisters come to me and ask me, son of man, did I do something that displeased you? I tell them quickly, what, you think I'm scared of you? That if you done did something that offended me, that I'm scared to tell you? If I ain't told you you did something that offended me, then don't worry about it. Because I'll tell you. I'm not like people who sit around harboring ill will about somebody. Why don't you tell them? They may not even know that they offended you. But they do if you tell them. So if you offend me, I will tell you. And if you just pay attention in class, then you and I, that's why the Holy Scriptures is called, since I was told to eat it, it's called the marriage supper. And you know what happens in a marriage. You go in as two. You go in here, you came in these classes with me with an understanding of things that I read and I shared with you. But when you leave out of here, you have the same understanding that I have, that I gave you. You understand? So it's a marriage supper. You see? We are becoming one. So I'm still waiting on some more of you. You all talk to some of the people that they don't necessarily have to be done made up their mind to be Muslim yet. But if they mind that they are tired of looking at black people in a bad condition in this country, I need 89 more people that will give me a chance to show you that I have the solution and will help me to do what Allah has put in my head to do, to get the ball rolling to us getting up out of this condition. I need 89 more people. So I've had 11 call me, and so if those that you know that's sympathetic, tell them. Love our people. The Son of Man is asking, would you help him? Because I'm using y'all's money to do what I promised you, the believers. But those are my people too. But I can't just take all of your money and use it on them who don't believe. I share some of it with them, but I can't. That's not enough to do what I need to do. Because I want to build their faith up. You give me all you have because you have faith in me. Well, I had to build that faith up in you. I want to do the same for them. Okay? So when you talk to them, if they You know, they need a job now. Don't call me if you ain't got no job. You got to have some income. Because when I get enough people, then I'm going to be talking with you about what we going to do. You see? So, all right. But yes, that's what dying daily means. Every day we should become a little more knowledgeable. As you practice eating one meal a day, you will notice if you was eating 3 meals a day and you go from 1 meal a day to 1 meal a day, you'll discover something else at the end of the month. You got more money than you used to have. Because where you used to buy enough food for 3 meals a day, now you don't need but enough for 1 meal a day. So that money you keep. You can help me with that. Because you wasn't missing it. You can't miss it because you was already spending that. Well, now you saved 2/3 of that money and send that here to help me go on and do some more. You see? Then when you go to 1 meal every other day, the only thing gonna happen, you're gonna start looking, you're gonna start feeling better. You may lose some weight, but don't worry. It ain't gonna hurt you. You know. But now if you sick, on medication, use your intelligence. You know. You have to eat if you have to eat your piece of fruit or a cracker or something, a few crackers, then make sure that or drink some juice or whatever. It's okay. You know, anybody that's sick, though, I don't want you trying to go on 1 meal every other day. You go 1 meal a day. And depending on what your sickness is, you may have to eat more than that, you know. But, anytime you picking up a lot of weight, just know this, you can stand to not eat as much. You know, that's just plain. Change your eating habit until you reach an equilibrium. You reach a way of eating that seems to let you not destroy yourself. Okay. Any more questions before I let you go? And remember, the scripture don't give us no spooky definition of God. The scripture says God is a spirit. That is true. God is a mind. For that's what the word is. The word is spirit. And that which the word produces, called a mind. But your mind is your spirit. Then we say, no man have seen God at any time. You ain't never seen a word. Never will. No man have seen God at any time. And you have never seen a mind. But in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with someone. You have seen the one that was with. You see human beings, don't you? Well, why you think it says, let God be true and every other man be a liar? Because the man that the Word was with, they call him gods. And he said, I have said, ye are gods. Do you understand? We don't believe in spooks. And that's what the world had not known, is that the one who brought that word, that's God. And so all of them, gods have died before. And it said, but you shall die like men, like other men. So, but the mind that's in us is not like other men. Do you understand? All praises due to Allah. So, you know, my God is the truth. And that I know the truth, you see? And so that makes me the truth for everybody who don't know. Because you can't go in there and get it like I can. You don't know where to find it. It's hidden from you. But he revealed to me the hidden manner. And he gave me the hidden manner and told me to speak to you. He gave me to you. I'm that bread that came down from heaven. All right. So now, because I don't want nobody to go out here crazy and mad. So I'm going to let you go. And may Allah bless us all and keep us safe and in our right minds. And I will, if it pleases Allah, I'll talk with you some more on these things Friday. May Allah's salam alaikum.
Your contact